War of words with Joe Biden. The president taking on his Democratic rival.
He's not a tough guy, he's a weak guy.
More of George's exclusive one-on-one interview, plus what the president says about his poll numbers and what ABC has learned about them.
Shark attack survivor, the brave teen speaking out for the first time.
17-year-old lost a leg. No, 17-year-old lost a leg and we're popping.
Her positive outlook, her thoughts about sharks, and how her dad's quick action helped save her life.
New questions this morning after the death of another American tourist at a popular vacation destination, the mother who passed away in the Dominican Republic.
I wished her a happy birthday and I told her I loved her, and that was the last time I spoke to my mother.
Her death follows reports of at least 8 American tourists dying there in the last 12 months. The new questions this morning.
Courtside confusion. The questions following the Raptors' historic win. Their GM shove a police officer as he made his way to the court to celebrate. What the sheriff's office is saying, do these photos tell a different story?
The doggone tale, the pooch named Benny with his own Instagram following. Allegedly dog-napped from his apartment, the movie star who helped play Retriever, and the happy reunion.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
That is a really cute dog this morning.
I've watched shots of dogs like chewing snacks like that all day.
I picture Ace Ventura coming in to save the day.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. Well, good morning. Let's get right to our top story. The new revelations from ABC's exclusive interview with President Donald Trump.
And the president going one-on-one with our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, going after former Vice President Joe Biden. With Trump set to formally announce his re-election campaign on Tuesday, he is attacking his potential opponent Biden as, quote, weak, while calling himself ahead in the polls.
George really conducted an extraordinary and wide-ranging interview here, even covering what the president has learned in office about UFOs. So we've got a lot to talk about here, and we're going to start our coverage with ABC's Rachel Scott, who's right there at the White House, with details on internal polling from the Trump campaign, which showed the president trailing Joe Biden. Rachel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. The president's campaign manager is calling that polling data ancient. He says those numbers have since changed to show the president in the lead. But President Trump still has Biden on the brain. In the long road to the 2020 election, President Trump and Democratic rival Joe Biden are entangled in a war of words.
You know, he wanted to be the tough guy. He's not a tough guy, he's a weak guy.
And while Biden is just one of 23 Democratic candidates in the race, President Trump has insisted in any matchup, he is the clear frontrunner.
But I just had a meeting with somebody that's a pollster, and I'm winning everywhere.
But an internal poll from his own campaign painted a different picture. The March data obtained by ABC News had the president losing to Biden by double digits in the battleground states of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And in Florida, where the president will kick off his re-election campaign in a few days, Biden led by 7 points. The Trump campaign argues those numbers have since changed in his favor. Still, the president has maintained his focus on Biden, with fresh attacks on his recent shifts in policy.
He is recalibrated on everything. Everything he says he's taken back 2 weeks later because he's getting slammed by the left.
Meanwhile, Trump has doubled down on his comments to ABC News earlier this week that he would accept political dirt from a foreign adversary.
I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong.
Those comments drew outrage among Democrats.
This one is a new low.
And even prompted criticism from some of the president's allies.
Foreign influence in our elections is growing, not lessening, and we don't want to send a signal to encourage it.
The president now says he would still take a look, but also definitely report it.
Of course you have to look at it, because if you don't look at it, you're not going to know if it's bad. How are you going to know if it's bad? But of course you give it to the FBI or report it to the Attorney General or somebody like that. But of course you do that. You couldn't have that happen with our country.
Back now live with Rachel at the White House. So President Trump is getting ready to relaunch his presidential campaign on Tuesday. And now the Democrats are getting ready for their first big debate. The DNC has just released that lineup. What can we expect?
Yeah, Eva, that long-awaited list is finally out, and there are so many Democratic contenders that the debates are separated into 2 nights. So on the first night, you can expect to see Senator Elizabeth Warren share the stage with Senator Cory Booker, as well as New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. And then on the second night, that's when you are going to see former Vice President Joe Biden face off against Senator Bernie Sanders, along with other top contenders like Senator Kamala Harris and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Certainly a time to shine in a crowded field, Eva.
And speaking of a time to shine, can we just take a moment this morning? This is Rachel's first time on GMA. She's been part of our ABC family for several years now, but we are so happy to have you working with us now. Welcome to the team, Rachel.
Excited to be here. Thank you, Eva.
Rachel Scott for us at the White House.
Great job, Rachel. Thank you very much. As we mentioned, George also asked President Trump about reports of UFO sightings, and the president for the first time spoke about being briefed on this subject.
You and I, we know we disagree about that, but we have a whole day ahead to go on this. Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information in the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. Have you been briefed on that? What do you make of it?
I have. I think it's probably... I want them to think whatever they think. They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
I want to be the first to know. The president on UFOs this morning. A lot to talk about here, so let's bring in ABC News chief political analyst Matthew Dowd, who's joining us from Texas. Matthew, I'm going to spare you a question on UFOs and get back to more terrestrial matters around presidential politics. This president, Donald Trump, seems fixated a bit on Joe Biden, but how worried do you really think he should be? Yes, Biden may be polling well, but it is so early in this process.
Well, a couple of things, Dan, related to this. First, I don't ever sense the president worries about too much because, as we've seen and we've seen in these interviews, he seems to have a great capacity to deny reality, even reality of his own campaign polling, which he denied existed. But there may be a question about whether or not he was actually ever shown those himself. But I think the other thing about this is that we have to keep in mind that these, as we saw in 2016's polls and the race can change suddenly. I think the president would be behooved to admit reality and to say he's behind and he hasn't been reaching out enough. But Democrats would also it's important for Democrats to understand polls can change suddenly, polls can change, and they don't often indicate where the American public is. So each side actually has to look at this race realistically.
Volatility is the one constant, seemingly. The other news this morning, these Democratic debates, Rachel was just talking about them. They've been divided into 2 nights because there's so many candidates. Night 2 is when you're going to see most of the heavy hitters, including Joe Biden. And I'm wondering, does Biden run the risk of being up there on stage with a bunch of younger contenders like Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris? Is that risky for him?
You know, this reminds me, watching this unfold and having 2 nights of debates with multiple candidates reminds me of the Women's World Cup and the stage level and who's going to emerge from that stage to go to the next level in this. I think Joe Biden, I think he does have some worries about this because anytime you put him on stage next to somebody else people may or may not know or haven't seen a lot can raise their stature in relation to Joe Biden. But there's pressure on everybody in this. There's pressure on Joe Biden to prove that, yes, he does still have the gravitas, and yes, he's ready to be president. But it also puts pressure on the sort of more unknown candidates to get themselves known as we start into this process. The other person I'll mention on the first night that I think has a real opportunity, because she's not on the same stage as Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, is Elizabeth Warren. She has been the one that's been rising in the polls in the last few weeks more than anybody else, and she's sitting on a stage in many ways without some dominant other characters involved in that. So both nights, I think, are going to be fascinating to see who emerges from this stage area of the presidential race.
And of course, you'll have lots of lesser-known candidates scrambling for their moment in the spotlight as well. Matthew Dowd, we really appreciate your analysis on Saturday mornings here. Thank you. And a reminder, you can see George's full interview with President Trump in a primetime special this Sunday at 8/7 Central, right here on ABC. Whit, over to you.
Dan, thank you. Now to escalating tensions with Iran. The White House saying surveillance video shows Iran was behind the latest attack on an oil tanker. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is in Washington with the latest. And Stephanie, the U.S. is calling for international consensus on this, but some of our closest allies remain skeptical.
That's exactly right, Whit. The United Kingdom says it is certain a branch of the Iranian military attacked those two oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Japan agrees. But Germany's foreign minister is going to need more convincing. He says the video released by the Department of Defense isn't sufficient proof that Iran is to blame. Right now, the Department of Defense wants other countries to join the U.S. in blaming Iran for the recent tanker attacks. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan said Friday the attacks aren't only a U.S. situation, adding that the focus now is to build international consensus. That's what led the DoD to release these images here, taken from a U.S. Navy surveillance aircraft, showing what they say are small Iranian boats with Iranian guards attempting to remove an unexploded mine from the side of one of the two ships attacked. Iranian officials, they deny having anything to do with these attacks on the tankers, but Iran's foreign minister did say recently that the president's maximum pressure campaign won't work with Iran, calling it economic terrorism. Whit.
And as you mentioned, some of those allies wanting more evidence here. Stephanie, also a third of the world's crude oil passes through that waterway, an important figure here. How are the U.S. and other countries weighing security options for those shipments going forward?
Well, officials at the Pentagon have reportedly weighed tactical responses to the attacks, like increasing security around tankers or even deploying as many as 6,000 additional service members to the Persian Gulf. But the U.S. has to be very careful here and walk a balance between having necessary forces and assets like warships in the region to deter a threat, but also not escalate what is already a tense situation. Whit.
Delicate diplomacy required. Stephanie Ramos in Washington, thanks so much.
Now to the arrest this morning and the shooting death of a former Arkansas state senator. Linda Collins Smith was found dead in her home. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us this morning with the details. Good morning, Marcy.
Eva, good morning. This comes after a week-and-a-half-long search. The former state senator's family this morning in shock over who was taken into custody. Overnight, police saying they've arrested a suspect in connection to the cold-blooded killing of former Arkansas state senator Linda Collins Smith. In a twist, authorities taking Smith's former campaign staffer into custody. 48-year-old Rebecca Lynn O'Donnell, seen here in this Facebook profile photo with the late senator, now being held on pending criminal charges. Officials not yet commenting on O'Donnell's relationship with the victim.
The investigation is presently at a critical juncture, and no further information will be released at this time.
Collins Smith was a longtime lawmaker in Arkansas who lost a state Senate primary last year. This video posted on YouTube shows a 2011 event when the late senator switched from the Democratic to the Republican Party.
If you remember one thing today, I hope it's this. I have not changed.
This overnight arrest comes 11 days after Collins Smith was found shot to death. The 57-year-old's body reportedly wrapped in a blanket at her home.
The condition of the body prevented any immediate positive identification.
At the time, her former press secretary said neighbors heard gunshots near the home.
Linda's very active on social media, and her last post was on the 28th of May. And so that just didn't really make a lot of sense.
The Collins family releasing a statement on O'Donnell's arrest saying, "We are sickened and upset that someone so close to Linda would be involved in such a terrible, heartless crime." And police there in Arkansas describe the investigation right now as being very fluid, saying they aren't sure when charges against O'Donnell will be announced. They are still piecing together a motive as Collins Smith's family prepares for her funeral later today. Dan.
Our best to her family. Marcy, thank you very much. We're going to move on now to an investigation into what happened moments after the Toronto Raptors clinched their first NBA championship. Law enforcement this morning looking into a brief confrontation between the Raptors' president of basketball operations and a police officer who was working at the game. ABC's Zachary Keish is here with more on the video from right after the confrontation. Zachary, good morning.
Dan, good morning to you as well. You know, from my view at home, it looked like a storybook ending. The team up north beat the best team in the NBA, but police say there was action away from the ball involving the team president and general manager of the Raptors.
We, the North, are now we, the champions.
The Toronto Raptors made history when they knocked off the defending champs Thursday in Oakland, winning their first NBA championship. But this morning, the man considered the architect of that team, president of basketball operations, Masai Ujiri, is being investigated by police for battery after they say he allegedly shoved a police officer as he made his way to the court to celebrate.
We wanted to win in Toronto, and we won in Toronto. Yeah!
In this video, you can see Ujiri being held back. We don't see exactly what happened leading up to it. Police have not released any video of the alleged assault, but the Alameda County Sheriff's Office did tell ABC News Mr. Ujiri did not have credentials on the court per NBA policy, and he shoved an officer twice. We chose not to arrest him at the time, but we will submit a complaint of battery on an officer. Photos show the team president with what appear to be credentials. A Warriors season ticket holder says he was standing next to the officer, but he also says reports of Ujiri striking an officer in the face aren't true.
There was no blows, no punches. I can only tell you what I saw, which was right in front of me.
Earlier in the series, Warriors minority owner Mark Stevens shoved Raptors player Kyle Lowry after he dove for a loose ball. The NBA responded by banning Stevens from games through next year. The NBA says they are aware and working with both the team and law enforcement on this issue. Might be the first time that a team president trying to get down to celebrate has gotten into this kind of situation.
Yeah. A lot of people want to see video evidence, though, the actual incident. Because with the chaos on the court, people are rushing. I mean, anything could happen down there.
No doubt.
Interesting. Zachary Keish, thank you so much. Let's transition to weather here. Rob never shoves his way onto the desk, always very polite.
I'll tell you what, sometimes I struggle just to get in the building. The security guards, I know that you work.
You do have strict security here.
I may have had a word with them.
Thank you. Yeah, I think. Rochester, New York, let's take a look at this wind and waves battering the coastline there. This pier taking it yesterday. Lake Ontario at record levels and the winds whipping up. So not enough to surf, but certainly enough to bang around the wood there. Flash flood watches are posted, fresh ones. Here we go. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio getting up into Lake Erie in Ontario with several rounds of rain coming with a stalled boundary that's going to bring not just heavy rain from Oklahoma City back through St. Louis, I-70 to I-40 corridor is where we're going to see this. Also severe weather with these impulses that will come through across parts of the Central Plains. And we'll talk more about how much rain we expect to see over the next 48 hours in just a little bit. For now, though, here's a look at your local forecast.
Hello and good morning, Washington. Meteorologist Alex Lead here, and a great start to the weekend. Hey, taste of Reston started yesterday. The last day is today, 11 to 11. Temperatures today making it into the mid-80s. Still low humidity out there. Beautiful conditions. Partly cloudy skies across the region. Overnight, a touch milder, not nearly as chilly in the 50s, but we'll be in the 60s throughout the region. Mostly cloudy skies for your Father's Day. Have the chance for a couple of morning showers. Also the chance for some afternoon storms. High temperatures near 90 degrees.
Muscled my way back to the desk. Back here in the next half an hour.
In the words of Dr. Ron Claiborne, you're crowding me, Rob.
You did say that on more than one occasion.
Thank you.
You bet.
You were also kind of howling to the song that was playing. And speaking of howling, the tale of a stolen puppy and the celebrity who stepped in to help. Diane's here with more.
So this Manhattan couple says that less than an hour after a dog walker canceled on them, a man was caught on surveillance snatching their dog Benny from their apartment. Now they say they have questions for the app they used to book that dog walker, and a big thank you to the actress and the detectives who helped get him back.
Sophie and Max Troper regularly use the app WAG to hire dog walkers and always thought very highly of them, so they never expected what happened on Thursday. The Tropers say a dog walker canceled their appointment. Less than an hour later, surveillance cameras outside their apartment captured this man with their dog Benny in his arms.
We treat him like he's our child, but he is. He walked down the aisle at our wedding in September, and he's just
a huge part of our lives.
The Tropers say the only people who know how to access their apartment are the dog walkers. So they posted photos of the suspect on Instagram and reached out to WAG,
Be good, kiddo.
as well as actress Olivia Munn, who's an investor in the company. Munn actually responded, calling them personally and pushing for a private investigator.
She's like, WAG's going to do it. If not, I'm going to do it. She was a true hero.
With the help of private investigators, NYPD detective Colin Kaufman tracked the alleged dog napper to his home in the Bronx, taking 22-year-old Christian Madriaga into custody Friday afternoon. Munn reacted on Reddit, writing, "Thank God I've been up all night. Huge, huge gratitude to the NYPD and Detective Kaufman." And the Tropers are overjoyed to finally be reunited with their furry friend.
We are so lucky that Benny was
safe,
delivered safe and sound, but this could have gone so horribly.